I'm here in northwestern Kentucky with Keith and Jen Sayers, and we're talking about this spot that we're at. We spent all weekend here at an encampment. We've been having so much fun. I want to thank these guys for inviting us, of course, but this spot has a kind of a special story and how Keith is kind of connected with that. So tell us more about that.
Well, I had been doing bushcraft and really just been an outdoorsman my whole life. So when I really got into the historical side of it, some friends of mine, we had this land and we decided Kentucky had an October deer season, so we just built a little wick up, and it started very basic. I mean, just as plain as you could get. You know, we were still really learning, and I had never been to a reenactment before in my life. I think I explained it to you, been probably 2 years ago, I finally went to one. But, you know, it was just organic from there. We just kept going, and we do a little bit of restoration on the side, and we had built a log cabin house and had some leftovers. So what you see behind us is just the result of that. And
bits and pieces
bits and pieces
together,
and cobbled, and we have, how much money do we have in this little place?
It's hard to say.
Yeah,
$100.
I mean, literally $100.
Right. And so it's like, what happens if you want to interact with historical reenacting, or you know, things similar to that, but you don't necessarily have a local group, right? You don't necessarily have or want to necessarily go to events. You can kind of make your own.
Yeah, and everybody had to start somewhere. So I mean, you know, even if you guys don't know anything about reenacting, or you know, just have what you've read. Take bits and pieces and you know, put the puzzle together, and then if you have just 2 or 3 acres, or you know, go out to a state park where they allow off-trail camping. I mean, it is that easy. You don't need to go to the next event, or you know, drive 7 hours to go to a fort. You know, and you're gonna, I think, hands-on skills, and I know she'll agree with this, but we learn so much more out here, just the doing, you know. And you know, everybody calls it historical archaeology.
Right.
You know, and that is really what you're doing, because everybody has a set, I think, way that they think this worked. Well, yeah, maybe that did work that way, but it didn't work that way all the time.
Well, and you don't know whether it works until you try it and find out.
And you know, and then we're big into raising mountain curs, and that's, you know, a real historical dog. So I thought, well, if I'm going to hunt with these dogs, and we're going to raise these dogs, then I'm going to switch to just strictly like we did earlier today, you know, with the flintlocks.
Hunting in that fashion.
And it takes it up a notch. And for the past 4 or 5 years, that's about the only way I've hunted is with flintlocks or primitive weaponry.
Right. And another problem is people might be in a different part of the United States, and there isn't anybody that's doing what they want to do. Right?
Exactly. And here today, again, we have people from Georgia, Alabama, Indiana,
Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, we're such an eclectic group, and we've met, but we're very cohesive, you know, and you know, like with the barn building we did this year, we just gelled, and we knew we gelled, and you know, it's like a family at this point. It really is. And so, you know, if there's 2 or 3 guys and 2 or 3 girls out there that want to try this, just, you know, find a spot.
Right.
Yeah, there's public land everywhere, or your uncle's back 40. I mean, we own 40 acres here, and you know, we lease a little bit more hunting ground and have relatives that own ground next to us. And you know, we've been up here all weekend. We haven't seen a vehicle, heard a vehicle.
Yeah. And it's a lot less restrictive. You don't have to worry about other people's rules. You can build your own rules that work for the group that you have put together, for the place that you have to work with.
Exactly. And you don't have to worry about everything being so correct all the time. You know, you can bring people in that don't have the kit ready to go.
Right.
And do it at their level, you know.
And then they can build into it.
Right. And everybody's here to help everybody else. You know, there's no person here. Our skill levels are so broad, you know, and we have, you know, Army Rangers, we have factory workers, we have farmers, and you know, everybody has their own speciality, and everybody learns from everybody else. And I think that's another great thing about this group. We just, you know, we meld.
Right. It's a great story from, you know, oh, I've always been interested in this. How do I evolve that? How do I build a group around me?
Exactly.
And then, you know, now there's this nice core group of people you work with, a nice, you know, setting, and you can continue to grow and learn from that, from each other, and progress.
Yeah, and there's no end to it, really. You know, you keep pulling people in, and
Yeah. And it might spawn other groups. And
Right.
each one of these guys can do the same kind of thing in their area.
Exactly. You know, you may have an offshoot, you know, 2 or 3 guys, just like our friend Paul. He ran into a fellow that's really into it in his area. So, you know, he's kind of cultivating him and pulling him into a group.
Sure.
So down there, he doesn't have to drive 2.5 hours to link
Right.
up with somebody to
Right.
do something. So yeah, I mean, it's obtainable for anybody, for sure. And you know, don't get stuck in that mindset that you have to go to an event or you have to be, you know, this historical place to do this, because it's right out your back door.
What's your vision for this spot? How it's used? Where you want to go with it in the future?
Well, this is just a place where my friends can come and hang out, her friends can come and hang out, you know, and anybody that's into this. And really, like the young man that was up here today, usually when we do a camp, we do a couple of, 2 AMM camps a year usually up here.
Yeah.
And we'll bring the Boy Scouts or, you know, some other kid group in for the day. And, you know, we'll try to lay some skills down for them and try to just light that fire.
Right.
To inspire the next generation. 'Cause so many adults don't have any idea, you know, of their history or where they came from or how hard it was.
Right. So it's history, it's outdoor skills, it's
Right.
just
being an
out-
inspiration
yeah.
to somebody
Yeah.
to, you know, reach a little further past whatever they've seen and actually lay hands on and get dirty.
Yeah. Yeah. Get out there and do
connected with, you know, the land. And I mean, every time I walk through these hills and the valleys and I see something new, and I mean, it never ceases to amaze me how beautiful it is. And I want other people to experience that. You know, this little corner of, you know, the world has got a lot of things that people, you know, if you're in a car, you're just passing by, and you forget how, you know, the difference of the trees and the ferns. You know, when I was walking down the valley earlier, these new little ferns were sprouting up, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's fall, you're gonna die. But you know, it's all nature, and I was appreciating. And you know, for other people to be able to come and take a break from the stuff that, you know, they have to deal with and the stresses of the world, to like time out, I'm gonna go somewhere awesome, talk about things that are real and meaningful.
Take it to the speed of 1780.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. A great example, great story. Tell me about your YouTube channel.
All right, yeah, if you guys want to check us out, we're on Ramshackle Homestead with Keith and Jen on YouTube. We do this, and she's more into the homesteading and gardening, and you can take that one.
Okay, well, I mean, that's in a nutshell, just the homesteading and all the different aspects it takes to just survive. You know, we're not just turning the thermostat up, we're finding the wood, we're chopping it, we're stacking it, we're having to build fires. It's those things that, you know, you can take for granted so easily, but, you know, when you focus on the essential, you know, and when you boil it down, and it kind of makes you feel alive more than
You're
doing
connected.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we love, you know, this. And I mean, today is beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Gorgeous.
And that's where, you know, I find like these camps, and especially if they're impromptu, if me and him, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful out, let's go and take the goats and we'll go, you know, hike somewhere, and we can do that. And that's why we love it, and we want to show other people that it's obtainable. They can do it, even if it's just little, you know,
Little
slices.
things. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where our YouTube channel kind of helps do that.
Inspire
that it's,
people,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'll make sure to put a link down in the description section so you can check out their YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you,
Ethan
guys.
and Jen.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks out there for watching.